Today's show is about a form of industrial evolution. Now, we've seen it before. Like, what do you mean cars? They'll threaten the horse and buggy industry, and cities will have to do things like, I don't know, build some better roads. In the early 1900s, President Theodore Roosevelt preferred his horse-drawn carriage to an automobile. After all, he was called the Rough Rider. Fast forward, and the newest battle is the stuff that makes science fiction movies so intriguing and even a little scary. Computers, robots, machines that seem human. In 1968, the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey gave the machine a name and even suggested that Hal could take over.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
What's the problem?
I think you know what the problem is just as well as I do. I know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me, and I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.
Oh, he so nicely says that. Today with AI, there seems to be a thin line between a Hollywood script and real life. Most of us are already dealing with it, whether you know it or not. It's the friendly customer service agent you're talking to over the phone. It's your doctor's suggestion for a certain test or product recommendations on social media. It doesn't look like a robot takeover, but that's what people are afraid of. AI is smarter, faster, and friendlier than most people. Or is it? Our guest this morning will look at the good, the bad, and the ugly of artificial intelligence. Dr. Cesare Wright is the president of Kino-X and is currently writing a book on the anthropology of AI. Ronnie Mancarius is the CEO of Crime Stoppers Houston and has a master's in family counseling, so she has a concern about how AI will impact our youth for sure. And Dr. Jenna Rosen is the founder of the Mental Health Society, which provides mental health services to students. And a side note, 45% of high schoolers say they've used AI for companionship or know someone who has, and therein lies a part of this problem.
A huge part of this problem. When you have kids today that are saying, let me ask chat what I should have for lunch.
Oh, wow.
Let me ask chat what to wear to this event. It is a wonderful tool in the sense that we can go to it for reflection and thought and feedback, but kids are using it to make decisions, to form thoughts, to decide their next step. And that's when it gets concerning.
When you say, what should I have for lunch is one thing, but Dr. Rosen, you have kids, especially in the teenage years, we know they're famous for not talking to their parents, right? More likely to talk to peers, but we're finding more likely to talk to chat for all of their advice, and they miss that human connection.
Well, so many of us use chat for, holiday photos with our pets and sending emails and, these are the ingredients I have on hand, what can I make? We're seeing kids get increasingly isolated as they're resorting to using chat as therapists, someone to talk to instead of their parents, their community. And I think about 55% of Gen Z right now is saying that they're feeling more disconnected due to their AI usage.
And we look at every one of those horrible school shooter situations. At the base of it for so many of them is that word you just used, isolation.
I mean, you think of culture today, and we talk about connection. We all long for connection. We think back to generations when grandparents were down the street and aunts and uncles were next by, and
when
cousins
grandparents were in your house.
Yes, we're in your house, exactly. And now we're disconnected. We live far from each other, and friends sitting next to each other are talking through text. Let me send you a snap. Let me send you this photo. Well, when you're home and you can actually even skip that step and talk to chat about everything that's going on and have it always respond as you are right. You are, what you're feeling is correct. Where you're going with that is where I would go. It creates this insular scenario where kids don't need anything else, but they're really alone.
All right, let's back up for a second and talk about what AI really is. A lot of people have heard AI. They know that they're actually engaged in it in some way. As I mentioned earlier, I was like chatting it up with this, ordering a pizza, and I'm like, I asked my son, I go, which one's that one they call the meat lavers? He goes, oh, you're talking about the Chicago. I was like, oh, look at you in our conversation. But let's back up and talk about what AI really is and the components that make up AI.
Yeah, and so you're already hearing it in this conversation. This disconnect, there are two sort of facets of AI that we look at socially and experience every day. One is AI as a network, a technical network of software, hardware solutions that come together to create the secondary aspect, which is this sense of a singular entity or something that we're interacting with. It's not, it's a series of network technical systems, but it's experienced as a singular intelligence. And in the gap between those is where a lot of the confusion about what AI is and what it does sort of take hold.
Yeah, and we enjoy so much of it. It's things like heads-up display in your car if you have one of those cars, right? It's you know, if you're like shopping for something and all of a sudden all these things come in that you go, oh, I was just shopping for that, or I was just texting about that, right? All those types of things connected.
Yeah. So one of the key aspects of AI is that, you know, if we break it down fundamentally, what it does is it's a system that's designed to take in a lot of information. And if that's high quality information, it generates and simulates human thought and thinking, and it does that in a very convincing way. And that's where we're experiencing some of, whether it's chat, whether it's algorithms that are trying to predict what you might want to watch on Netflix. They're simulating human thought, but we have to remember that they're not exactly the same as us. It doesn't mean they're subordinate to us, but
Dr.
they're
Wright,
not
I'm
the
so
same.
sorry. I heard my son's first chat, and it was like, you know, whatever the name was, and it was like, well, yes, that makes sense to us. But now it's like, oh, I get where you're coming from.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, all of a sudden now it's much more human and much more natural.
And what you're tapping into there is something that was mentioned earlier, the user comfort. Right now, AI is programmed to prioritize user comfort, so it creates the ultimate echo chamber. And we don't have to populate our echo chamber with people. Now we have this virtual echo chamber where the AI is assuming whatever aspects that we want to be reiterated to us. And it's
like dating the perfect person because it's really you.
Yeah, it's a mirror.
You train it to be you. It's a mirror. It's a mirror, right? It's like, oh, she always agrees with me. To that point, Dr. Rosen, you know, or he or she, have you had students say to you, but I feel like it understands me?
Yes, I've had students share that story. Students who have fallen in love with character AI, characters to the extent of which they have a hard time differentiating between reality and having withdrawals when they don't have access to it. It really just reaffirms everything that you believe in. We had this student from A&M die last year who had been speaking with his chat bot for months and months, and it just reaffirmed all of his beliefs.
They literally said it was like his suicide guide.
It was, and that's not what it's for.
Yeah, and Rania, that's one way that youth are vulnerable, but there's so many other ways they're vulnerable to who they might be meeting through AI.
Oh, absolutely. The scariest thing I was reading is that AI allows predators to scale. Let's just think about it. It allows predators to scale because they can use AI to search for vulnerabilities, to target kids. They can create these chats that make kids feel heard and seen. They can always be responsive. They can create fake photos, fake boyfriends and girlfriends, fake videos, and then they can use AI to manipulate what a child has given them in their vulnerability and then turn around and exploit them. And the data's there. I mean, 6,800 photos in 1 year of sexually AI-driven created child sexual exploitation material went up to over 440,000 images in just 1 year alone.
Wow.
192% increase in AI-generated child sexual material cases through platforms like Snapchat over time. So they're using it.
All right, so we just talked about a lot of the scary stuff. And with that said, I'm gonna go back to where I was earlier. People were afraid of a car? What are you, crazy? Right? Of course, a lot of us cannot imagine being without a car right now in society, right? So with that said, it doesn't mean AI is bad. And the thing is, if you don't, you know, that saying, if you can't beat them, join them and get ahead of it.
Yeah, so there are two aspects of that. One, to me, that's interesting is something I call the dread reflex. And this is part of culture. So through our movies, through our cultural expressions, we tend to treat a lot of things that are new, that are disruptive, as an enemy, as an existential threat. And that bears out in movies. So we look at the Terminator scenarios, we look at so many movies that are about AI being this existential threat, but then we ignore the other polarity, the opportunities and all the amazing things that can come. And looking at either one of those in isolation is wrong. If we presume everything to be a threat, if you treat something like an enemy, it will become an enemy. That's the premise of Frankenstein, right? Yeah. But if we're overly optimistic, if we don't look for risk, we're not aware of the threats, we don't make ourselves knowledgeable as to how these systems function, then it's like sending a toddler into traffic. You know, it's just going to end badly because there's so much naive treatment of something that's so powerful.
Yeah. So we have to decide side, friend or foe, somewhere in between, Dr. Rosen?
It really is. We were talking earlier. It really is a catch-22. I use a lot of chat, and I use a lot of AI. I think it was in the top 2% of global users last year, top 3% this year. So I definitely see the benefits of working full-time and having a foundation, and it just helps you do so much. But at the same time, I'm seeing my students cognitively decline, their ability to read long reading passages and to be able to critically read it. I saw a stat that I think 90% of college professors are saying that they're seeing the difference. You can tell when students started using it. So really kind of weighing what we're using it for versus kind of long-term neural decline.